Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chen Goldberg.
And I'm Aparna Sinha.
And thank you for joining us today. It was super exciting for us to see Urs presenting the cloud services platform today in his keynote. We started working on this vision a bit over 4 years ago, where we took our years of experience in developing applications and managing them reliably and brought them to the industry through Kubernetes and Kubernetes Engine. We invited community, users, partners, and customers to work with us, ensuring Kubernetes solves real problems for all users. The result is that Kubernetes today is the industry standard for managing containers applications. It is used by enterprises of all sizes in their journey to modernization, increasing teams' productivity and leapfrogging competition. Last year, we open-sourced Istio, decoupling service development from service management, and it already got significant traction from the industry, including first users in production. Today, we are bringing those technologies and a few new ones together, building an integrated stack, giving you application modernization wherever you are, in the cloud and on-premises. Our new solution is built with those 4 principles in mind: consistent experience, centralized control, agility with reliability, and flexibility. We'll be using them to introduce our products. It will help you understand why we have built cloud services platform the way we have and what to expect next. If they sound familiar to you, this is because they are already rooted in Kubernetes. They are also demonstrated in many other Google Cloud Platform products and solutions today. You will hear more of them throughout the next 3 days.
And we want you to know that these principles are not just principles for technical design. They are principles that enable a customer journey that starts with you, where you are, and allows you to transform IT at your own pace. We all know that enterprise IT is complex. Every customer that I work with has a mix of custom-developed software as well as off-the-shelf software, and a variety of on-prem hardware from many vendors. And across that, they have to ensure security, regulatory compliance, and all of their policies work seamlessly. This complexity can slow businesses down. In the middle of this environment, cloud offers an opportunity for speed and competitive advantage. But without the right software, cloud can sometimes add another layer of heterogeneity to an already complex environment. Cloud Services Platform is targeting the 80% of enterprises that are looking to enable hybrid cloud today. They need a way to homogenize public cloud infrastructure with what they have on-prem, connecting and managing it together. I see users marrying the modern with the existing so that they can really enable use cases like these. They want to have CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment, across public and private. And they want to be able to manage compute at the edge, where they can have low latency, or for regulatory reasons, or just for business reasons, and yet have centralized intelligence in the cloud. And then lastly, they want to be able to consume the best-of-breed services regardless of where they're running, whether in their on-prem data center, in GCP, or in any cloud. Today, to accomplish these use cases requires a lot of fragile do-it-yourself integration. Or it can result in a compromise between consistency and choice, between agility and reliability. Cloud Service Platform is a different kind of hybrid cloud software that overcomes some of these trade-offs, so you don't have to make those compromises. At its core, Cloud Services Platform is powered by Kubernetes and Istio, which are open source, enabling that consistency across environment. But on top of that, this stack is custom configured, enterprise hardened, tested and managed by Google, so you have that centralized control. It is also deeply integrated with GCP services to deliver the benefits of Google Cloud on-prem. And then this integration enables a wide variety of solutions, such as CI/CD across clouds, also machine learning and serverless, and a variety of others. Today, Hen and I are going to demo for you exactly how we break some of the traditional trade-offs with these design principles.
The first principle of cloud services platform is consistent experience. We have seen with Kubernetes how much consistency matters. The idea of write once, run anywhere, pulled users and partners into its community. No lock-in to a specific platform really excites users. It simplifies things for developers and operation teams when they know there is a certain set of primitives they can rely on. Cloud services platform takes consistency further. Portability isn't enough. Users are looking for consistent user experience. Use the same tools everywhere where their workloads run. Their operation teams would like to have the same way to manage the cluster, on-premise and in the cloud. Developers would like to develop, build, and deploy the application the same way, regardless of where the workloads will run. The SRE team would like to have the same tools in order to troubleshoot an issue, regardless of an environment. Our customers tell us they want a consistent experience of Kubernetes engine, GKE. GKE has been GA for almost 3 years now. And users like Kubernetes engine, automation, upstream currency, and reliability. It is Google configured, managed, and supported Kubernetes. They've been asking us, how can they get the same capabilities in their on-prem data centers? And we're giving our customers exactly that. Introducing GKE on-prem. It is Google configured Kubernetes with automated provisioning, managed upgrades, and security in your on-prem environment. When talking with users, this is when their eyes light up. The idea that they don't have to train their teams once or twice to learn different tools really excites them. This is where they are spending most of their time. Operation teams having a single playbook to manage all of their environments is really a game changer for them. Less time spent on training and integration leaves more time to innovation and increases the team productivity. What's even more awesome about GKE on-prem, that it connects seamlessly to Google Cloud Platform and helps you manage a multi-cluster environment wherever your cluster is, and all of them will look and behave exactly the same. Let's move to the demo and see consistency in action. OK, so here what we have already is that earlier this morning, my team provisioned a GKE on-prem cluster on this pizza box server running vSphere. Voila! This is all live demo. And now I will show you how to integrate this cluster into your GKE environment and get that consistent experience. From the GKE UI, I can go and register an external cluster. I will call it the innovative name West. And then I will download this GKE Connect manifest. Let's look inside it. What it will help us is to create that connection to GCP. Oh, sorry. So what it has inside, it has a namespace. And in addition to that, there is a service account and role bindings we will use in the UI in order to access and view the workloads in the cluster. We also have here a deployment of the GKE Connect agent, which is what we use in order to create a secure connection from this cluster into GCP. Let's apply it. You can also see here in this UI that GKE is waiting for GKE Connect connection with Google. And once it's done, we will see this change into a checkmark. Yay! And we'll continue to the next step. Here I have to provide some more details. Also, I want to make sure that we are talking with the right cluster from GCP side. So I will use a certificate, provide the IP, and continue to authenticate. For the sake of the demo, I will just skip authentication for now, but I can also use a user token or leverage an identity provider in order to do basic authentication. And we are finished. What we can see right now in the environment, in my GKE environment, I can see all my clusters, including this on-prem cluster, and it is already registered. But you can also see that I don't have any details about it. Everybody needs to enter their own user credentials, and this is why there is this lock icon here. This is good hygiene practice in general, and this will help us to maintain the integrity of the environment and make sure that we have the right audit logging and RBAC policies. I will copy it from the environment. And now I will actually get access into the cluster, and you can see how I can see the cluster size, the number of CPU, and more. From this point on, everything actually behaves exactly the same as the GKE clusters we are used to managing on GKE UI. Yes, first live demo, yay. We see the master version, for example, which is very important. Again, another attribute that we keep consistent with your GKE environment. We heard from our customers this is really important for them, for the integration aspect they have to GKE, to Kubernetes. We can see the nodes that are there. And like every other GKE cluster, I can go into the node and see really useful information, such as the pods running, resources available on that node. So this is just looking on a single cluster, but then GKE actually creates this multi-cluster single pane of glass, where I can see, for example, all the workloads running in my environment, regardless of which cluster they are running on. And this is true also for services as well. So this is really nice, getting that visibility into my environment. But what's even more awesome, and again, first time doing it on stage, I will also deploy from GCP for the first time into a cluster, which is actually not a GCP cluster, and it can run anywhere. We'll go into deploy, and we really wanted to make sure it's simple as possible, and all I need to do is to choose the right cluster. I will click deploy, and what do you think? Tum, tum, tum. Voila, yay. And while it really looks simple, it's actually not simple to do. And for us, we heard from our customers that they really appreciate the management capabilities they have on GKE. And we want to provide that wherever customers are running their workloads. Back to the slides. This is a quote that I really like, since it captures really what excites me the most about the technology we are building. You know, I'm an infrastructure person, but what excites me is that we are allowing developers to really free their time and focus on innovation.
Awesome. Consistency is the building block for the next principle of cloud services platform, which is centralized control. We all know that control is important, but what is different about cloud services platform is two things. Number one, it provides control not just across clusters, but across environments, so across GCP and other environments. Number two, it works out of the box with your existing authentication and other services. So it doesn't create a trade-off between control and agility. As a complement to Hen's announcement about GKE on-prem, we're also really excited to announce GKE Policy Manager, which is in alpha now. This is a piece of software that allows admins to define tenant namespaces as well as policies that can be applied across environments. And these are defined in a single source of truth, which could be GCP IAM or a Git repository. The software then automatically updates all participating clusters at once, regardless of where they are. They could be in GCP or a different cloud or on-prem. And so it synchronizes those policies everywhere. Our first version supports synchronizing namespaces, role-based access control, or RBAC policies, quota policies, and more. And we're going to show you a demo of that now, actually using the cluster that Hen provisioned. So we can move to the demo screen. There we go. All right, so first I want to show you what clusters I have access to here. I've got actually 4 clusters. I'm going to be using 3 of them in this demo. I've got US Central, East Coast, and this puppy over here, the West cluster. I've also set up some watches on these 3 clusters. So here's a watch on East, here's a watch on Central, and here's a watch on the namespaces in West. And as you can see, there's really just system namespaces here today. As an admin, what I want to do is across all of my environments, I want to set a set of policies that apply to all of them. And I've created some policies, first of all, that I'm going to copy into this directory. And let me show you what they are. So I want each cluster to have 3 namespaces, a dev namespace, a prod namespace, and a staging namespace. And for my SREs, I want to give them pod creation access across all of these 3 namespaces. So I've created a pod creator SRE role binding that, in this hierarchical tree, applies to all 3 of these namespaces. But in my dev namespace, that's the only place that I want to allow developers to create pods. I don't want them to be able to create pods in production or in staging. So I have created this role and role binding for pod creation just for the devs, just in the dev namespace. Also, I want to make sure that my test costs don't balloon out of control. So I'm going to set a quota policy, which is encapsulated here in quota.yaml, also for the dev space. All right, this is cool. Now what I'm going to do is add that to an empty Git repository. So that's going to be my single source of truth for all of my policies. And then I will go ahead and commit this file. And as I push this change, you will start to see in these 3 watches, those 3 namespaces come up. So we should see an orders dev, orders prod, and orders staging namespace come up in all 3 clusters, fingers crossed. And OK, it looks like US Central has got orders dev, prod, and staging. Nice. And US East does as well. And here is our pet cluster here on-prem and on the stage, which has GKE Connect, the agent that Hen configured earlier. And there also we have the 3 namespaces. So you see here centralized policy management synchronized across multiple environments. One last thing I'm going to show you is that quota that I created. I want to make sure that it's also actually enforced right here in this cluster. So I've changed context to the West cluster, and I'm going to see if there's a quota file. So let's go ahead and open that. And indeed, there is a resource quota file, and it does set a both CPU and memory quota limit for what my devs can do. And so that's it. That concludes the demo. In summary, Cloud Services Platform policy management software allows you to apply policies across cloud from one source of truth. You can kind of think of it as security and policy portability.
That was an awesome demo. One of my highlights, the thing I love the most about this announcement. The combination of consistent experience and centralized control access on-prem and in the cloud is powerful. But all of this is ultimately in the service of your business success. That depends directly on developers' productivity and on their apps running reliably. Often, these 2 things are at odds. Developers want to move fast, but operation teams would like to make sure the environments are enterprise-ready, and they would like to have less changes. That brings us to the 3rd principle of Cloud Services Platform, agility with reliability. Cloud Services Platform lifts this trade-off with Istio. Istio is an open platform to connect, secure, and manage services. It takes care of traffic management, monitoring, and security. It does it by raising the level of abstractions from VMs, containers, and pods to services. This also means that Istio can work with uncontainerized workloads together with containerized ones. This week, we are announcing Istio 1.0 and its readiness for production environment.
Woohoo!
This has two big benefits. One, it puts more intelligence in the hands of the operators, who can now systematically monitor, secure, and control services. The second one, it relieves the developers from writing common capabilities that every app requires, like monitoring, authentication, logging, and more. By decoupling development from operation, Istio gives coders their time back, while not compromising the reliability aspect, and gives operations high-quality, common services, enabling greater visibility, security, and reliability. Now we'll go to the last demo for today.
All right. So as a developer, I want to focus on writing my applications that actually add value to my business. I don't really want to write a whole bunch of common services for auth or monitoring or logging or other things. And those things need to be done well in their own right. So Istio actually enables us to decouple that work from developers, freeing us to focus on what's important. And I'm going to demo that for you. Specifically, this demo is going to show you three things. Number one, it's an example of how Istio frees developers from having to implement auth in each of their services. Number two, it's going to show you how, as a security operator, I can apply policy incrementally to new services in the face of existing services without breaking them. And then number three, I'm going to demo how Istio enables a secure by default enterprise. And to do that, I'm going to be using this application called the Bookinfo Demo App. It consists of 4 services. As you can see, these 4 services are written in 4 different languages, also referred to as a polyglot application. And each of these languages can have their own way of implementing monitoring or auth or any of these services. But what we've done here is we've deployed Istio. And we've enabled Istio as an auto-injected Envoy proxy in each service. And you kind of see that with the blue line. This required 0 code changes from any of the developers. And out of the box, it comes with authentication, best-in-class authentication. It comes with intelligent routing and telemetry. For demo purposes, we also have 2 clients. There's a modern client that's in the Bookinfo namespace, so that's going to be shown in green, and it's actually going to get all of the changes that we make through Istio. And then there's a red client, which is a legacy client. It could be a legacy service that you have existing, and it's not going to be Istio-enabled. And then what we're going to show here is incremental enablement of MTLS first in permissive mode and then in strict mode. All right, so we can move over to my screen so we can start the demo. Oh, good. OK, so for this demo, I'm going to use the Midwest cluster. And so we've switched context to the Midwest cluster. And just to show you what's in this cluster, these are the namespaces. So Istio is, in fact, deployed in the Midwest cluster. And also, we have the Bookinfo application, which we were showing you just on the screen. But let's take a look to make sure what deployments are part of Bookinfo. And so here you see there's a client, which is the Bookinfo client that's going to be generating load. There are the 4 services, the details service, the product page service, the rating service, and 3 versions of the review service, so we can do Canary. And so what we're going to do is the Bookinfo client is going to be hitting the product page. But remember, I told you there's also a legacy client, so let's just take a look at where that is. If we just do kubectl get deployments, there's this legacy client that's not part of the Istio or Bookinfo namespace, and it's also going to be hitting the product page. Let's first just check to make sure there's no policies installed. And so let's see if there's any policies. There's no policies. And let's also then get a Grafana dashboard so that we can take a look at the traffic that's hitting the product page. And so this is the IP address for the Grafana dashboard, and I've already gone ahead and set that up. So here you see that there's 2 QPS of traffic hitting the product page. So here we are, we're looking at the Istio service dashboard in Grafana, and we're looking at what's hitting the product page. And at the moment, there's 2 QPS of traffic, and it's all non-authenticated, so there's no client-side authentication. Anybody that hits the product page will get a response, and it's all 200s. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on permissive MTLS in the Bookinfo namespace. So what that means is I'm going to set up this policy and then apply it. Let's take a look at the policy. So the policy is going to apply to every service in the Bookinfo namespace, and the mode is permissive and Istio mutual. So permissive mode means that whether the client that's hitting has MTLS enabled or not, the product page is going to go ahead and accept that traffic. And so what we should see, though, in Grafana is some of the traffic is going to be MTLS, some of the traffic is not going to be MTLS because we've turned on MTLS for all services in the Bookinfo namespace. OK, so now let's go ahead and apply this policy. And it looks like the policy is created, the destination rule is created. And now when we look at Grafana, we'll see 1 QPS of MTLS traffic from that load generator, that Bookinfo client that's in Bookinfo namespace that has Istio, and then 1 QPS of traffic from the legacy client that doesn't have MTLS. OK, so let's see what happened. And indeed, you see that the non-MTLS traffic has gone down to 1 QPS. So this is just the traffic from the legacy client. And in addition, we've now got this additional traffic that's also 1 QPS that is MTLS. So this is the MTLS traffic from the Bookinfo client that's in the same namespace. So you see we've gone down from 2 QPS to 1 QPS, 1 QPS each of MTLS and non-MTLS. So this is permissive mode. That's great. And the benefit here was, we didn't break the legacy service. So the legacy service is still hitting the product page, and that's fine. And SRE can then talk to the developers and say, hey, we got to stop with this legacy service. Please implement client-side auth and that legacy service, because we want everything to be authenticated, because this is a product page that's, it's got sensitive information. So now what we're going to do is, we want to turn off the legacy service. Turns out it's actually rogue. And we want to enable MTLS only authentication. We only want services that have client-side authentication to communicate with our product info page. So this is what the YAML looks like. It's very similar. So it, again, applies to the Bookinfo namespace. But now the mode is strict. So we're strictly going to accept traffic from services, client services that understand MTLS. And so let's go ahead and apply that. And here we go. And so now that policy has been applied. And what we should see now is only 1 QPS of traffic, only from the service that's in the Bookinfo namespace that has MTLS enabled. And the other one, the rogue client, should go away. So let's see. Did that happen? And it looks like it did happen. So you see that the blue service, the traffic from the unauthenticated non-MTLS service has gone down to 0 QPS. And now we only just have the 1 QPS of traffic from the MTLS-enabled service. And we can see that together. So actually, if you want, we can see the history of this. Let's just go back 15 minutes, and you'll see we had both 2 QPS. Then we went to 1 and 1, and now we just have 1. So that's nice. In summary, without any code changes, we have enabled client-side authentication across every service in the Bookinfo namespace. And also, by the way, we've turned on security by default. So that if there are any other services in the future created in Bookinfo, they're going to be MTLS enabled as well. Those are not the only benefits of Istio. We don't really have time to demo all of the benefits today. So instead, I've invited a customer to speak to you about how they are using Cloud Services Platform to solve real-world challenges. It's my pleasure, and please join me in welcoming Jeff White, Platform Architect at eBay, to the stage.
Ooh. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Hi, Jeff.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us at GCP Next. Can you tell us a little bit more about your group and your role at eBay?
Hi. I'm excited to be here and share eBay's story. My group is focused on building products to expand eBay's reach to new markets and market segments. Last year, we released a new buying experience for the Chinese market. We also released eBay on Google Assistant, and we've been developing AI technology to enhance these products. My role is to help build our services platform. Our team is responsible for all aspects of development and operations. Everything from choosing application frameworks, continuous integration, and continuous delivery platforms, and setting standards for logging, monitoring, and alerting. One of our goals is to build a services platform that is easy to evolve as our architecture grows and matures, and places minimal burden on individual developers. A core strategy to delivering on our product and technology goals was our decision to expand to the public cloud 2.5 years ago. There were many benefits to expanding to the public cloud. The key aspects that were important for us were global infrastructure, auto-scaling, and managed services. These aspects have helped us quickly build new products, scale our infrastructure with our user traffic, and provide an optimized experience to our international customers.
That's great. And if I understand correctly, you now have more than 30 GCP services that you're using.
Yes, pretty much. We take advantage of GCP services as much as we can, and we try to place all our applications in Kubernetes.
Wow. That sounds like an amazing charter, Jeff. So how's your journey so far?
Fantastic. We've learned a tremendous amount about building robust cloud-native services. Kubernetes and Helm, along with our internal tools and standards, have made it very easy to deploy services. And we've scaled our architecture across multiple dimensions. We have on the order of 100 applications, and they are running a variety of languages and frameworks. And these services are deployed across multiple clusters running around the world.
Wow.
And of course, we've scaled our infrastructure horizontally to match our traffic and workloads. But scaling across these dimensions presents new monitoring challenges. A microservices architecture shifts the emphasis from monitoring individual services in isolation to monitoring the entire system as a whole. When you get paged, the problem is never your fault, right?
Right.
It's always, you can't connect to one of your dependencies, or some error way upstream has propagated all the way to you, and now everyone is up trying to figure out the root cause. Standardizing monitoring signals allows us to monitor across the system. This allows you to do things like correlate logs by trace ID and distributed tracing, so you can inspect the network call stack. But these monitoring concepts require services to collaborate on consistent standards, and they become part of the platform itself. But adding this logic to our applications and libraries makes it difficult to migrate, especially in a polyglot environment. Maintaining a services platform becomes exponentially difficult as the architecture scales.
I see. I understand. So how are you dealing with this complexity and multi-polyglot services environment?
Boom. So we looked at service mesh technology, and we saw the value of moving these common networking concerns from our application processes to an individual, independent component. And we particularly like how Istio makes this transparent to services with its strong Kubernetes integration and sidecar proxy approach. So we started experimenting with Istio earlier this year, and it was a natural decision to initially focus on the observability features, metrics, traces, and logs. These provided us with the biggest initial benefit while minimizing risk and learning curve. And perhaps most importantly, we would be able to use the very metrics provided by Istio to help us evaluate and fine-tune as we incorporate more advanced Istio features. As part of our testing, we gradually increased the size of our mesh by using an opt-in policy. And today, we are running Istio in production.
That's awesome.
Our mesh contains about 10 services so far, and we are progressively adding more. And we now have a uniform and transparent mechanism of collecting metrics, traces, and logs. The Prometheus and Grafana dashboards provide us with the key metrics. We can get an aggregated view of the overall health of the entire service mesh, showing traffic, latency, and errors. 3 of the 4 golden monitoring signals. And we can dive into an individual application and see those same very metrics. And we also have Stackdriver integration working, and we're continuing to explore those capabilities. These tools complement our existing metrics and monitoring, allow us to continue to refine our service level objectives, and assist us in troubleshooting live site issues. And we're now in a great position to start introducing some of the more advanced Istio features. We look forward to seeing how much Istio simplifies our monitoring and improves our system performance.
Wow, this is awesome to hear. Thank you, Jeff. It was such a great time to work with you and the team over the past few months. As we continue and work on Istio, is there any feedback or requests for us? So I'll take it back to the team.
Sure. The Kubernetes integration is excellent.
That's good to hear.
The Helm charts make the installation a simple one-liner. The automatic sidecar injection provides a transparent way to attach the client proxy. And the default Grafana dashboards provide a great starting point for monitoring the critical signals of the system. In terms of areas of improvement, we look forward to getting access to more granular data and controls. For example, we would love to be able to slice and dice our metrics by URL. We also like to see Istio expose more sophisticated retry and timeout configuration settings. And of course, we look forward to a managed Istio service.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Luckily, we have all of that recorded, so we won't forget that. Thanks. So we started with the first principle, consistent experience. Consistent experience is often a trade-off with flexibility. When you lock things down to make them consistent, you limit your options. As an example, when you cannot take a best-of-breed approach when you decide to standardize. We also heard Jeff talks about the need of having a platform that evolves as our requirements continue to change. Cloud Services Platform breaks this trade-off with our fourth design principle, flexibility. Cloud Services Platform is built on an extensible open software. It comes with an ecosystem and a pluggable architecture that gives you flexibility, a choice of solution, and the ability to integrate into them without introducing friction in the user experience. If something is missing, you can fill the gap yourself without compromising consistency. The platform allows you to evolve as your needs and requirements change. We are leveraging Kubernetes and Istio extensibility and the rich ecosystem, so you can customize, evolve, and integrate Cloud Services Platform to better fit your needs. With that, I'm super excited to share that we are the first major cloud provider to offer a production-ready commercial Kubernetes application in the GCP marketplace. Yay. It is developed by third-party partners. Our commercial Kubernetes app support usage-based billing, simplified licensing, and easy deployment to Kubernetes engine on GCP and everywhere else. My favorite part about this announcement is that all Kubernetes apps listed in the marketplace are Google vetted. That includes vulnerability scanning and partner agreements for maintenance and support. This brings the Open Cloud Services Platform ecosystem to you wherever you are. Cloud Services Platform is a unique hybrid offering that addresses today's enterprise challenges where you are, in the cloud and on-premises. In the session today, we focus on the core platform services. We introduce the new GKE on-prem and how it is consistent with Kubernetes engine. The new GKE policy management, Istio, together with Stackdriver and the marketplace, gives you tools and easier way to manage this multi-cluster environment. The key principles of consistent experience, centralized control, agility with reliability, and flexibility have stood the test of time at Google. And now, with Cloud Services Platform, we are making sure that they support you through your journey without the need to compromise between them. We will continue in bringing more solutions and products into the Cloud Services Platform based on our years of experience following the same principles. Google Cloud is the only public cloud provider bringing consistency, flexibility, control, and speed of the cloud to your local data centers, along with the freedom of workload portability to the environment of your choice. We are very happy to bring the cloud, Google's cloud, to you.
Woohoo! High five. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you so much, Jeff, for talking about your use case and your environment. We hope that we've managed to pique your interest in Cloud Services Platform. There's a lot more. We didn't have time to cover everything. These are some deep dives tomorrow and on Thursday that we would highly recommend you visit for a deep dive on Istio, on GKE on-prem, and of course, hybrid use cases.
Thank you.
Thank you.